welcome to LOA Today. I'm Walt Thiessen. With me today is the woman who knows how to set personal boundaries, Alex Standy. This is your daily dose of happy. We are so happy you decided to join us today. Today is also a kind of a special day because I'm actually doing three podcasts today. Two of them for LOA Today, and one I did a podcast swap with another podcaster. Really interesting guy from the UK named Oliver, who had Tourette's syndrome and managed to use vibrational meditation type stuff to cure himself of it, which is a pretty cool thing. But man, that guy.
Hold on one second.
I mean, we've talked a lot, Alex, you, me, and Dan, about the fact that you guys are on the autism spectrum and how that actually provides a kind of a superpower in some ways. And I got the same impression with him because, I mean, this guy, he literally described overcoming Tourette's in a way that's very similar to the way you guys have described what it feels like to be autistic. In that you have this huge, incoming swarm of stimuli, far more than you can process. And that when you can finally process it and sort it out, then your whole world calms down. Well, that's what he managed to do in meditation. But the way that the interview went, I can't even call it an interview. It was more like a discussion. It was so high flying. I mean, literally, we covered practically life, the universe, and everything in 2 hours. It was really something. Yeah, very intense and very enjoyable. I thoroughly enjoyed talking with this young man. So, yeah, I'm on a pretty good high right now. It has lasted through to today. So that's going to be published about the same time this episode will be published. So listeners can look for it around the same time. But yeah, that was one big thing. And then the other big news for me this week, as you know, is that I finally decided to open up a TikTok account and start TikTok. And that actually came out of the Tuesday episode when Monique Scott said that she was doing stuff on TikTok. And I thought to myself, okay, maybe it's finally time. Maybe I should finally start doing something. So opened it up, got my first 4 out there. And I already had 8 followers. That's a pretty good start. Can't argue with that.
Yeah,
so, That's a good start. I got to ask you, though, because now that I've seen your profile on TikTok, you and Kenny, you call yourselves Surviving the Standees. Is that like Keeping Up with the Kardashians? I was just wondering if that's where that's coming from.
It's not where it's coming from. It actually comes from me and Kenny's mother's husband, not boyfriend, whatever. Kenny's mother's partner. Kenny and his mom are very similar. So when they have issues, we like to gather and talk about it like as a team. So like it's a whole thing. We're surviving the Standees.
Got it. Okay.
We got T-shirts. Right. It's a whole thing. So.
Well, I mean, it does sound like a reality TV show, the way you titled it. That's what made me think of it.
Text message.
Hold on. Dan's looking for the link.
Oh, cool. I didn't know if Dan was going to make it today.
At the moment.
Where's he coming in, on Facebook, or is he coming in on a message?
He's texting us.
He's texting. Oh.
He doesn't have Messenger right now, so he said you usually email the link also, and he didn't get one.
That's true. I usually do, and I forgot to. I will send him an email right now. So give me just a moment. Let's see. Get there quickly.
I said you're sending it.
Yeah, if I can get my email program open.
Oh. Is it going to be one of those days? I don't think so.
Well, it's opening, so that's good.
There we go.
Yeah, I always forget. Everybody who's a co-host here receives things differently, and I should make like a checklist somewhere so that, okay, I know this person likes to receive it that way, and that person receives it this way, and so forth.
Well, that seems like a lot of work. I would just send it out universally.
Yeah, but some people don't check some things, and other people don't check other things.
Right, so
like
I would just send it to all the platforms so you're covered.
Yeah, I'm trying to avoid that. I'm trying to keep my workload down. That's increasing the workload.
Like the other way is more complicated.
Well, perhaps. Almost anything here is too complicated as far as I'm concerned.
Oh man.
I'm into simplifying. What can I tell you? I'm into simplifying.
Yeah.
Well, that's all right. It's one more thing to figure out. What's the simplest way to get it to everybody? That's the problem with all these different platforms, man. I mean,
I know.
so
I know,
everywhere.
honestly.
Yeah. I mean, this young man that I interviewed with today.
Hmm.
He does most of his stuff on Instagram. I almost never do anything on Instagram, right?
My brother's the same way. He's like, no one uses Facebook anymore, Alexandria. I was like, I'm sorry. I didn't know I was that old.
I'm sorry, Daniel. I forgot that you prefer it by email. That's my mistake. But
I actually prefer email too. It's just easier for me to when I'm on
you
my
do
life.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. All right.
I'm not on that. I'm not on that Facebook stuff right now.
That's fine. That's no problem. I was just saying to Alex, I'm going to start making a list of who gets what kind of contact so that I don't mess it up anymore because
I
everybody
feel
likes
really
it.
bad now. I feel like I've just made you like extra work for no reason. I'm sorry.
It's just what we were talking about. No, actually, when I make the list, actually, that's going to make less work for me because, I mean, Alex was saying, why don't you just put it out on all the platforms? But to me, that's more work. So if I just know if I have a list that I can refer to, okay, Daniel likes it by email. Okay, good. Now I know what to do.
Yeah, people are just getting too, like it used to be, Facebook would just send the messages to the other place and I wouldn't see it. But now it's coming to the main inbox. Like message request, want to speak to this person? I don't know who this person is. I don't know what. And then I was ill and I was away. So I had like more than 100 messages, different conversations. And then you've got those groups where people just post what they've had for the last week. And it was just too much. And I just managed to get my emails down to 28 unread. It was over 100. It would, and WhatsApps, I still haven't finished getting through the WhatsApp. Because the problem is you'll respond to one to try and get through it. And then it's like, okay, let's talk about what I had for breakfast. No, I don't really want to. I can't do that right now.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it just, I think I did all those slots over Christmas and New Year's. And a lot of people, like my Facebook name is shortened so that if you search, you get my business page. You should do. Then the team handles it. But people have been getting my personal page and messaging me on there. And I'm just like, do you know what? I'm out. Like, I'm done. It's good.
I'm with you. I mean, personally, I think that, I mean, it's not like we have any lack of stimulation in this world, right? That we're so inundated by information. The last thing we need to do is have to filter all that information out one piece at a time. So I'm with you. I'm looking for ways to simplify the whole thing.
Yeah, it's just so many, like the WhatsApp, the Telegram, the Signal, the iMessage, the email, the Facebook Messenger. And now people keep trying to sell you stuff. So many people, they add you as a friend. Now, I don't even accept friend requests from strangers anymore. I don't even care if we've got, like, if I don't know you, we don't need to be friends on Facebook. It's just what it is.
Right.
They send you the thing, then they send you a polite looking Facebook message. It's like, can I say some stuff now, please? It's like, no, I don't want to buy your stuff. And now I'm just not even engaging, especially the ones where you get the friend request and it literally says on their header, I helped this person do that without this. CEO are going to sell you some stuff in your DMs.
Right?
I'm just like, delete. Just
delete.
delete.
I think it's telling too. There was a guy who came up with an app that would connect into your Facebook account, and it would unfriend you from and unfollow you from everything in Facebook, so that you could start from scratch because people were feeling overwhelmed by what was coming through on their timelines and so forth. And they got banned for doing that. Facebook banned that particular app. Because they didn't want you. They want you to receive that overstimulated
They
stuff.
want you to be inundated.
Yeah.
I think they're going to increase the fringe from 5,000 at some point as well.
I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah.
Wow.
I'm waiting for them to do that.
Yeah, I think that'll probably happen. Well, they're going through a whole thing right now. I don't know if you do this. Facebook took a big financial hit recently. They're
Oh, really?
down.
What happened?
Yeah, their sales, their quarterly reporting is down like 10 billion quarter over quarter.
Oh, yeah, that's because Apple just was like, we're about to put a spanner in the works on your ads.
Yeah, Apple played that was about half of it. Half of it was about Apple. Part of it was indirectly about Apple in that they removed some categories, a bunch of categories, advertising categories. So there's a whole big foofra going on in the advertising part of Facebook. People complaining, I've been advertising for years and it's not working anymore and all this other stuff. So yeah, there's a few factors going on, but they're feeling a little pain right now. Let's just put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
Which is probably a good thing. Oh, Daniel, I wanted to tell you, you may not be aware of it. I signed up for your Kickstarter course, and I haven't been able to do a whole lot with it, but I have been interacting somewhat and learning from some of it. And I have to also send you a thank you because in one of the videos you referenced LOA today, which was pretty cool. So thank you very much for the shout out there. That was fabulous. Apparently, at one point I made reference to how I like to flip things around. How I like to flip topics around instead of thinking about the negatives. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, sorry. I think there's a delay on my end. You carry on. I'm going to shut up and wait for you to finish.
Oh, all right. Well, I was just saying that there was I guess there was a episode of the podcast one time where I referenced how I like to flip topics around so that if something gets expressed in terms of what we don't like, I like to flip it around to what we do like. And you actually referenced that in the course, which was really cool. I'm like, oh, okay, great. I love it. So just wanted to say that. But the course is very interesting so far, I have to say.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
I'm still trying to navigate it. It's meant to be more of a disruption. Yeah, it's just meant to be more of a disruption and create those foundations over the 6 weeks. Mm-hmm. Because Kickstart is one of those things, people that don't really know that much about me, they don't really understand about the flow funnel, they don't understand about beyond intention, they don't understand about micro-shifting, they don't really, maybe they've never played the money game. They sort of just come in off the street and do it. So it's meant to just create some disruption, give you that solid foundation in what we do, and then gives you the first 7 steps of the 14 steps, so you can sort of start working through those.
I figured it was about time. Anne-Marie and I both talked about this. Anne-Marie Young. We're talking about how could we know Dan all this time and not have done at least his Kickstart program, and we couldn't answer the question.
Awesome.
I mean, I'm on the one hand, I guess it's, we get a seminar every time that we do a show with you. So maybe there's that. But
right?
Free access.
Yeah, right. But, I couldn't quite answer the question. So I figured, okay, it's time to do the course. It's time to give it a shot, see what's what there. Actually, I haven't looked at it in the last few days. I have been dealing with so much stuff. Talk about being inundated by incoming stuff. I'm not even talking about stuff coming from social media. I've just had so much in my lap, and I've been trying to, divvy stuff out and get stuff off my plate and so forth, so I can just kind of come up for air. But in the process, all of my daily practices have fallen by the wayside. I mean, if I can get in 5 minutes of meditation, I'm doing good. It's that kind of a thing lately. Ugh. So I haven't had a chance to really get very far. I got the first week done in a day in your course. So I guess I got that far into it, but I haven't been able to get anything.
Yeah. Just it's designed. I mean, the reason why I've made it multiple pieces, so you can just drip feed it over the course of a week. There's no stress. Just do 1 week a week, and you can sort of break it down and noodle on it. Not, I must do it all today. It's designed to be paced out.
And it's very simple, I have to say. I mean, you present it in a very simple way. It's very similar to the kinds of things you've talked about here on the show. So it's none of it's a real surprise or anything like that. But it's a good exercise to go through. And it also kind of led me to go back to, because I had been doing the money game, and then the money game kind of came to a stop for me. I guess I reached my hard edge. And I haven't had a result in months. I haven't paid any attention to it, but I haven't had a result in months. So I'm thinking, well, maybe I need to kind of start revisiting and getting back on the vibrational merry-go-round in a sense.
Yeah. I mean, money game is one of those things that we always suggest for people to keep at. I always play with it. I'm doing one at the moment, and I've got a 30,000 hard edge that's come up so far. I'm moving into phase 2, which is which is interesting because normally I've always stayed sort of been 10 and 20, and this time it's gone up. So I'm interested to see what happens when I finish this round and then go through it again and just see what happens.
Right. So you actively use it, which is cool. I mean, you invented the money game and you're using your own tool.
Oh yeah,
great. Yeah. But when you're doing it, like, how do you approach it in your mind? Like, because it's your game, you're the one who invented it. But how do you think about it when you're doing it?
So I do my best to follow the rules exactly the same way they are in the book. So I write the statement exactly as it is. I do the phases exactly as they are. I only count money. I only count things I wasn't expecting. So I do exactly the same. And the whole thing is just staying in the groove. Because if you, when you think about the energetic ecosystem that gets created by all the people playing, by me playing in those rules, I get to be in that energy. Basically, it's another quantum entanglement that's been created by all the players of the game. So everybody playing it gets the benefit of everybody that's playing it.
So that's something you mentioned in the Kickstart too, right?
Yeah. And the thing with the Kickstart as well is that the main thing, and I've said this before, but people don't normally get it. The activities aren't as important as, number one, the intentionality and the choice to actually move forward consciously in doing something. The energy or the quantum entanglement of being in the community of all the people on the journey. And then the impact on your belief systems of seeing other people getting it done. That's more important than even studying the material. Studying material is important, right? But it's not as important as the rest of it. Those pieces, that's where the magic is. So someone could, for example, log into somebody's account and do the material, but then you're not getting the real benefits of the community aspect of witnessing the miracles, of witnessing other people having their wins, of celebrating each other, being celebrated in the community, and being, again, in that quantum entanglement of success in the program.
That's a really good point. And in my own case, I know for a fact, I literally have spent no time in groups lately at all. I mean, I just haven't felt like I could. My workload has been ridiculous. Self-imposed workload. It's not like my boss came along and told me, I'm the boss. So.
Oh my God. Stop jumping on my face. Even though I called you to my face.
That's right. Exactly. Yes. Okay. It was me. I confess. I did it to myself. Okay. But nevertheless, I haven't been diving into the group at all. I took one little quick look one day at some of the stuff and there's a lot of good stuff going on here, and that's about all I did. So it's a valid point.
Yeah. The group isn't like another set of assignments. There's some resources in there. I've done like some live streams. There's some money game tools in there and whatnot. But the main function of the group is fostering the community, people sharing what's going on with them. You can ask for questions. You can ask for support. You can share your challenges and people support. And you'll see like this person, this is going on. People say, I've got you. Da, 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 da. That's what the Facebook group is for. It's not meant to be another vortex that you're pulled into to spend all your time. It's a place to go into and sort of drop in and get jazzed up.
Which is exactly the way I was treating it. I was treating it as another vortex to have, be a time sucker, pull the time away that I, was so valuable that I was, basically burying myself under. Right? I mean, let's be perfectly honest. That's what happens, right? We say, I gotta do this, I gotta do that, I gotta do this. I probably didn't have to do half of them, but I convinced myself I had to do them instead of actually doing the work on myself. So. Also, I have a tendency lately. I've been doing a lot of courses. I just, I completed the Thai boot camp recently, and I dove into years at the same time. I dove into years. It was good. I liked it a lot. I'm very much an advocate of the boot camp. One of the things that they've talked about repeatedly when you're in boot camp, and you even hear about it after you come out, is I don't know if they have a label for it. I think I'd call it like post boot camp syndrome or something. Where after you're done with the boot camp, all of a sudden the support mechanism is gone. The old one. I mean, there's a new one because you get put into the base camp after that. But there's like it's like being in a cocoon when you're in a boot camp situation like that. And every week you can count on you got that group interaction you're talking about. In this case, they go through a Zoom call, but you have that group interaction going on, and you get used to that, and then you're feeding off of each other and so forth, and then that comes to a stop. And if you don't fill it with something else that's similar, you may not notice it at first. I certainly didn't notice it at first, but looking back, I realized, yeah, there was a piece of me that was missing that.
Aww.
Yeah. So I was filling it in with other stuff, but there's no replacement for personal connection, for connective interaction. There's really no replacement for that. So when you said that, I was thinking, yeah, that's the missing piece. That's what I need to get back to.
Collaborative energy is a big part of the success of the work that we do. Because the collaborative energy, like I said, we've really taken to heart the work that Lynn McTaggart did in her book, The Power of Eight, in that when 8 people or more hold a specific intention, then the fiber of reality changes. And so we're focused on creating that 8 at every step of micro to million. So you're supported by something that works. You just need to jump on board with it. And then the general growth, the general success, the general abundance, quantum overlay as well. It's really awesome.
It is awesome. It also fits in nicely with a concept that I have been directly addressing for myself lately, because I have a long tendency of not doing it. And that is, I have a tendency many people have. I feel like on a deep level, like I have to do it all myself, which is,
I feel like everybody feels like that.
Yeah. I think we've all been through that many times, perhaps. I know in my case, most of my life, and it's an old habit, and it's not a great habit. It's actually a fairly counterproductive habit. But even when, like, I had my summit in January, I was trying to do it all myself. Anne-Marie Young comes along and she says, I volunteered to help you. And I said, thank you. I really love that. And then I didn't put her to work. I mean, it was that severe. Yeah. And I finally did. I mean, and she did. She was very helpful on the days of the summit. But man, that old programming was just playing. It was playing and playing and playing. Like, it's like you said, Dan, the subconscious mind always wins. Yeah, no kidding. I found that out the hard way.
I had to learn at a very young age that delegation is key to keeping yourself stress-free.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's so true.
And I've known it for years, and I'm still having trouble with it.
It's just for the win. I mean, the more that we try and do everything ourselves, the more we'll find that we can't really do that much by ourselves. And I think in a day and age when, you know, this whole thing of personal development's being pushed everywhere, like we're being told we're meant to be working on ourselves and growing, and, you know, now we've got, you know, lady powers all the rage. And self-empowerment, and but being powerful doesn't mean that you can't be supported.
That's the key point right there. Yes. Just because you're working on yourself doesn't mean you therefore have to do it all yourself.
Doesn't mean that at all.
Yeah. But it certainly seems like it. At least
It's hard
when you're stuck in the train. Yeah, it is. It's very hard. So it's reminding me I need to kind of reorganize my my priorities. And literally, I have been doing that. I've been kind of doing that, not with great conscious intention, some conscious intention, but the last few days, I've been distracting myself in a lot of different ways. By the way, I see Gregory in the live stream asking, can he ask Mr. Daniel something? Absolutely. Type something into the chat there, and we'll bring it up for Daniel to answer. Yeah, you got the right person to ask too, by the way. So nice choice.
I
I'm
remember
not kidding.
Gregory.
Oh yeah, yeah. He's been on a few times. So,
Okay.
Something else I wanted to bring in too about that I was picking up from the Kickstart, and I'm kind of curious what the thought process was when you put it together, because the Kickstart, among other things, has something that I've never seen in a course before. You came up with, like, I forget what you call it, but you came up with a whole list of possible things that people can do to generate income depending on what their financial level is.
Yeah.
And what was the thought process behind that? That was interesting.
So micro to millions is based on a few principles. You've got micro shifting, which are the steps that
gradually increasing steps. So you start at 0, you make those steps. We've got alignment, which is looking at the different aspects of ourselves. So we've got the intentionality. You get the group intentions, which are the same ones that we give people that are doing the full program, but all the way up to 1.6 million for the full program. And you've also just got focusing on the one thing at a time, focusing on each one of those steps. Then the emotional relationship to money, which we help you build a solid foundation for through the 6 weeks of Kickstart. And then you've got the mindset, which we do work on throughout the 6 weeks of Kickstart. But if you don't know what to do, then I've got this great mindset. I've got this great intentionality. So what I did was I created an encyclopedia of different ideas based on what step you're at, so that you can have, okay, I've got my pot up to $100. How the dickens do I get from $100 to $200? Here are some ideas, right? And when you've got your money DNA, you've got some ideas of how to turn $100 into $200. Okay, I've completed that one. How do I turn 200 into 400? Well, here's a load of ideas. And we've actually got those all the way up to 1.6 million in the full program. And in the Kickstart, we just do it for the first few steps.
And that term you use, the money DNA, is a term that you use regularly in the program. But define it for listeners here. When you say money DNA, what do you mean?
So money DNA is the natural way that you flow with money. We use a specific combination of personality profiles and tests to map it to at a high level. And then the deeper that people get in, like if someone's working with one of our, they come and do the accelerator, which includes one-on-one coaching, then you actually get everything really deeply personalized. So you know exactly what kind of things you should be doing, even how selling is going to work for you, the kind of roles you should and should not be doing in a business or entrepreneurship, how much sleep you should be getting, how many hours a day you should be working for optimal wealth. All of these things can be mapped, and we call that whole map money DNA.
Okay. All right.
Wow.
It's an interesting concept. And I didn't realize that in your accelerator program, you went to that depth. That's really very cool.
Yeah. The accelerator program, so like the difference between the different levels of micro to millions, Kickstart gives you your foundation. It will get you started. We give you the roadmap up to about 12 grand. So if you just did Kickstart, but followed it to the letter and did everything in there, you can get up to the 12 grand mark. You can keep going, but you're supported up to that level. When people do the main 2.0 program, you don't get any coaching, but you get that same pre-recorded roadmap all the way up to 1.6 million. When people do Inner Circle, you get that roadmap, but then you get group coaching and you get some personalization. With Accelerator, you get a one-on-one coach for 6 months that actually does all the deep rewiring of your unconscious. You get sessions with our emotional relationship, our emotional support people. You get energy clearing sessions personalized to you. You get a whole day with me coaching to dig in and get stuff done. Everything's completely tailored to your limiting beliefs, your emotional traumas, your relationship to money. You get a load of work with a subconscious mind worker who will come in and do hypnosis and timeline therapy and all sorts of stuff to unlock your infinite abundance. And then we have an additional mastermind call, which I run. The group coaching I don't do, my coaches do, but with the accelerator I actually do then a group coaching call. So right now, for example, we're going through the science of getting rich, and we're going through that, and we're applying those principles. We have guests that come in and stuff like that. So there's a difference between someone who comes in at the beginning and we find a lot of people actually start just at the Kickstart or at the entry level, even on a payment plan. And then they end up making their way through to the other levels because, things are working out for them.
Which is the only reason to do it. And it's great that you structure it that way because it makes it reachable. Certainly the later on programs, that's not something that somebody, well, first of all, you wouldn't just take anybody off the street on that anyway.
No.
You made that clear.
Yeah, you can't do those.
Yeah.
We can't do those.
But even if you did.
The group coaching you can, maybe if you've been to a workshop or you've been in one of our challenges or something like that, then we'll allow you to, because it's an investment, it's not a little investment, and we're not interested in taking it from people that aren't going to get the most out of it. So that's why, again, we've got the Kickstart program. You can get accustomed to what we do. You can get used to the community, get accustomed to the terminology, how we do things, see some results, and then come and do something else with us.
Yeah.
And it makes sense to do that because what you're basically doing is you're structuring each level to what the student has managed to learn and apply already. In other words, they've learned how to attract this much money. They've learned how to develop this much success. And once they've got that, now they have the means, if they want to take the next step, rather than just diving off the deep end, that would kill most people financially.
I've got into trouble with my business coaches before because, like, when we have like money game challenges, if you go in the Dream with Dan group and look at the money game challenges, you'll see people that manifested tens of thousands of dollars in that week. Now, most coaches would then be like, yeah, right, cool. They put the money. Let me go and sell them my highest ticket program. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
We don't do that. Yeah. We don't do that. We still want to see you come in at the ground level, build some, what's the word I'm looking for? Familiarity with how we do things and to make sure it's a fit. I don't want to be having to give you a refund because it's not a fit. I'd rather just what it is, how it works, it's going to work for you, and then you come and get involved.
The word that comes to my mind is sustainable. It has to be a sustainable practice. If you can't sustain it, then you really can't afford the next level.
Right.
Yeah. Doesn't make any sense. We're not interested in people.
Right.
When 2.0 was a bit more expensive, so the 2.0 program used to be 1,000. Now it's gone up to 3. That used to be the thing that we'd bring people into, but still it was quite heavy. So I built out the Kickstart program. We added more to the 2.0, increased that one, and built out this Kickstart so that people, and you can come in for 500 or you can do 3 payments of like 197 or something like that. It's not a massive investment. It's something that you can actually see some results from. And if it's not for you, we had one woman, she jumped in. It's like, yeah, it's not really for me. I'm not really getting it. No problem. Refunded straight away. No quibs. Mm-hmm. That's the way that we do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that is the way to do it. No doubt about it.
Yeah.
I like that.
Something else I wanted to ask you about too. I'm trying to, it flitted out of my mind, so I'm hoping I can get it back as I'm talking here. But it was something that you brought up during my summit, which was really good. And if I can't remember it, I'll go to something that I can't think of from the summit that was a great takeaway. So I'll go there first because I can't remember what the other one was. You said something wonderful in the summit, and you actually went into extensive detail about it. But I wanted to touch on it here very briefly because it's just really, really important. You talked about how it's not a good idea when you're looking, whether it be money or anything else, it's not a good idea when you're looking to break through on something that you're having trouble attracting to just go to your friend, go to somebody who says, oh, I have all the answers on this. You want to get counsel, to use the word that you described in the summit. You want to get counsel from somebody,
not opinions.
From somebody who really knows, who really has been there.
Yeah, that's a quote from my mentor, Greg Reed. Seek counsel, not opinions. And I recorded a podcast yesterday. I was a guest for someone who also is friends with Greg. And the way that he broke it down, he said he loved that. He loves that statement as well. He says, opinion is what someone would do in your shoes. Counsel is what someone has done in your shoes.
Right.
Yeah. It's a big difference.
Right? Mm-hmm. Opinion is what someone would do in your situation. Counsel is what someone has done in your situation or has supported somebody through in your situation. Because not every single sports coach was dunking, but they can get you making those points.
That's right. That's what a good coach does.
But someone who's like, oh yeah, I've been watching a lot of CNBC. I've got this Super Bowl day. I'm your guy. I've been watching Super Bowl for the last 10 years.
Not CNBC. I got this.
Put me in, coach. Like, no, you're not that guy, right? Versus someone who has been taking people there, right? Mm-hmm. Like if I'm looking for someone to teach me how to hit with the quarter, I'm gonna like TBZ, Mr. Brady. I'm gonna be like, yo, this is what's going on. I'm trying to make those throws and it's not working. And he'd be like, well, you know what's going on here. Let's check your posture. Like, try these workouts, try this stretch regimen. Boom, boom, boom. Not Mr. C. I've been watching Tom Brady for 10 years. I'll tell you what to do. Like you, that's opinion.
Right.
That's opinion, not counsel. Right. So, yeah. And far too often we are seeking opinion and then wondering why we're not Why are we not getting any results? And there are a lot of people out there charging you money for counsel that have only got opinions.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. And I also asked the question, I remember asking this during the summit. I said, how do you tell the difference between them? And your answer was very straightforward on it. Mm-hmm. You test the water, you find out.
Like the truth doesn't really take that long to come out. It's like, I put myself out there. I literally got a public thing anyone could join on Facebook and say, look, here's my model for manifesting money. Like, there's no, oh, Bob and Sally said it worked. Give me some money and you can see if it works for you too. No, it's like, here's Bob and Sally. Go. They've been on Facebook since 2007. Take a look. Mm-hmm. I didn't make up that Facebook account, or did I? Right? Ghastly 17-year plan to get you.
If you ever did that, I'd fall out of my chair. I mean, I'd be done with podcasting if I found out you did that.
15 years, 16 years. Today's the day that I collect my $29. That didn't exist when I started this dance.
Oh my God. He said it was.
Yeah.
That is funny.
But yeah,
oh
but
my
it's
God.
like there's no, like if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. And some people, they say, look, it's not working. And then you will see what I say for them to get it working. And this happened recently because we're working on making it evergreen so anyone can come and do the 5-day money game challenge. And so when we had the 2022 Abundant You, we invited everybody to come and do. Not everybody did, but we invited them all to play the money game. And there were some people like, oh, like, I don't get it. It's not working. They're like, wait, I just got like $1,000. Wait, I just got like $2,000. No. Just follow the advice, guys. It's right there. So, yeah.
I can't remember what the other point was I was going to raise, but I did remember something that I wanted to bring up with you, which was really cool. It was the workshop that you did for us in the summit. You did one of your blasting through blocks routine, which was I have to say that was so
Did
fun.
you hear about the I think her name's Diane, the lady with the pain?
Maria. Yes, that's what I was going to bring up.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
The whole purpose of this workshop was to help people break through money blocks.
Okay.
And what ended up happening for her, she has suffered severe pain from fibromyalgia for more than 30 years.
Oh, wow.
And after
has to have multiple injections, but they were worried about having any more injections. Otherwise, she was going to die if she has any more injections.
I can't remember what the medication was, but there was a medication that she was on regularly that they give to people who are terminally ill just to help them survive, the pain of the last few months. And she was getting it regularly. And she went through the blocks routine with Dan. Dan led her through the routine. And her pain that day fell from an 8 to a 3 on a scale of 10.
Wow.
And then by the end of the session, it was down to a 0. And it's been at 0 ever since.
And she hasn't had to do the medication.
That's right.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And when
we weren't even doing a healing. It was not even a healing session. That was the best part.
When I say to people, because we've had other people in the program that have, like, for example, Moni was like always sad and depressed about not being in a relationship, blah, 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 blah. Now she's like rocking this crazy podcast. She's out dating. She's full of confidence. We don't approach that directly, but like Micro to Millions isn't about money. It's about being whole and about being a conscious, creative and abundant, joyful, purpose-driven life, of which money becomes a happy byproduct because it's the easiest medium of exchange for choice and freedom and so on.
Yeah.
But we just see that the energy that's often stuck that causes these challenges in people's life frees up when they do this work.
Yeah.
Like that was one session. And I don't really like, I don't know. Sanjay always gets upset with me for like not pushing these, because we've got story after story after story after story after story about this. But for me, I don't really like commercializing it. But this is something that we see a lot, that someone comes. How long did we hang out for that day? 2 hours? 3 hours.
That was about a 1 hour session. Actually, it wasn't all that long. It just felt like we got so much done in that hour.
Oh, was that all? Was this an hour?
It was an hour. Yeah.
Oh,
It's
wow.
unbelievable how much we got done. Maybe an hour and 10, hour 15, but it wasn't 2 hours.
Yeah, we just got in and I mean, there was a woman as well who healed the relationship with her mother. Like,
Right? Oh God, that one was unbelievable. Yeah.
yeah. Because a lot of the challenges that lead to the stuck states around financial abundance are the clue is sitting readily available for us to pick it up somewhere else. And when we go and pull on those threads and look at, and again, I think it's Tony Robbins that said, like, change doesn't take time. Change takes an instant. What takes time is us getting ready to make the change. And all that I do is look for another place, like a clue or breadcrumb to where the change is available, where someone's ready to make a change. And then I pull on that. And then it's not there to be a problem in other places to the same depth and degree, if at all. That's the secret sauce.
You make it sound very simple, but you actually are very intuitive the way you do that. I mean, because literally every single session was different. Everyone was completely different. It was. You were tying into what each person needed differently, you know.
Sometimes I'll go into the energy centers and I'll read the energy on it. Sometimes I'll listen to the word formation. Sometimes I'll ask a series of questions and see what the thought patterning is. Just finding where that inroad is. And you'll notice I'll like spin and then boom, like one of those hawks, like there, like our circle. Oh, there's the field mouse about to get me dinner. And then go and grab it. And then, you know, the pain's no longer an 8, it's a 3, and then it's a 0. Because the pain is a signal, right? The challenge of mum is space for healing, but when often the energy around it is so charged and so deeply ingrained in that one area, we just go and find, like sometimes I do like a regression type thing and find an earlier place where the charge isn't so deep, then we pull the plug out and then it's not available to flow into other areas of life.
The other thing that really surprised me, because you'll remember, I had everybody else go first, and I actually wanted to do it too, so I went last. And after we were done with me, I was disoriented. And the reason I was disoriented, no, I really was. And the reason I was disoriented is because I was very surprised at how it was almost a hypnotic state I found myself in. And you weren't really doing hypnosis. There was nothing hypnotic about what you were doing, but somehow I just slipped into that state really easily. And it surprised me. I don't even know why that happened, but it did.
Sometimes I do use hypnotic trance just to sort of get at it. And sometimes just the breathing process that I'll do will just shift the brain waves from beta down to alpha, so we can at least get to that point. Because a lot of it is asking a question and inviting someone not to think about it, just to say whatever comes up first. Because whatever comes up first is that unfiltered, unconscious, and it will show me what's going on underneath. And then I can pull on that and be like, okay, now we can bring the body into it. Now we can bring the conscious mind, but we want to know where we're looking, where we're scanning.
It was really impressive, I have to say. Anybody who was involved in that session, I mean, I got huge feedback from people about that session. And for people who weren't there and were wondering about it, I'm actually still in the process of packaging together the replay, so it's going to be available to you. I'm almost there. I've just finished day 2 of the summit portion, so there's still some work to be done before I get to that point. But I'm getting close, and I'll be able to release it, and you'll be able to buy into that for a very nominal fee. But oh my goodness, that was really great. You made the summit with that one workshop. Not that the rest of the workshops and stuff weren't any good; they were great. But that was that was the cherry on top. Oh yeah, we had great speakers. We had 12 speakers. We had 5 workshops. The 5th workshop had to wait 2 weeks, but we finally got that one in, and that was amazing. Yeah. But it was really good. I was very pleased with the way the whole thing came out.
You did reignite my workshop excitement. So I've been sort of flirting with going back to doing regular workshops. So I'm doing 2 workshops in 1 week this month.
Oh, wow.
And then I'm going to be doing both those workshops. One's the Ideal Life Blueprint and one's a Money DNA workshop. We're going to be doing them 2 weeks apart every month. So I'm going to be starting those. 23rd and the 25th, I think they're going to be.
Is that something for the general public?
Yeah, they're going to be Tickets available to the general public. I think we're making like $50 or something like that for each one. I've asked Sanjay if there's a way to do like a combo bonus where people get both of them for like a bit less or whatever. But yeah, that's me 23rd and the 25th. Anyone be able to do them.
And I can tell you after what he did at our workshop, that is a bargain price. Just don't even think twice about it. Just buy the ticket. Don't even hesitate. Just buy the damn thing. You will get your value back many times over.
It's going to be a few hours, interactive. I'll have people going into small groups, going into pairs. I'll be doing some laser coaching, and we're going to take them through creating their ideal life in one and learning how to decode their money DNA in the other.
Yeah, very cool. Wow. Whew. I think I'm going to get back into the Dream with Dan group a little bit. I'm going to get a little bit more into that now because, I have.
You've jazzed up now?
Yeah, I'm like, okay, it's time. It's almost like I have to get pressed up against the wall before I finally say, okay, I give.
Give in. I've got it.
Sometimes we learn the hard way. I do have to tell you, though, I had a really interesting out of sequence podcast interview this morning. I was telling Alex about it before the show.
It's like a whole
we were kind of touching on
support system.
Well, yeah, it is. The whole the whole group that Dan has going is a support system. But I guess also my podcast is too, in a sense, because that's what I experienced this morning. This gentleman is a young man from the UK. He has Tourette's syndrome, or had Tourette's syndrome. He cured himself of Tourette's through meditation. And the conversation I had with this guy, I mean, he's very different from you two, but I kind of suspect that the fact that you guys are on the autism spectrum is similar to his Tourette's, because he's the kind of person who just gets talking and then he's pulling concepts in from everywhere. And literally you can see him reaching out with his arms, pulling this one in and pulling that one in and pulling that in and connecting it all together and so forth. And I'll tell you, I was on high alert just staying in the conversation, but it was great. It was really great. I mean, we covered, like I told Alex before the show, we covered life, the universe, and everything in 2 hours. I mean, because I did his podcast, he did my podcast, so I'm kind of on I'm on high alert right now, and have been ever since that experience earlier today. So that's kind of coloring
Awesome.
my experience. I think that's probably why now I'm opening up to, okay, time to rejoin the group. Here we go again, because I got that connection. Also, something came up in that conversation. I want to get your take on this one, Daniel. We were talking about source energy and how he understands it. By the way, his approach to the whole thing is kind of like yours. You do everything kind of from a very scientific perspective. There's not so much of what many people consider to be the spiritual side. Yours is very, very direct, factual, and he does very much the same thing, which I found to be quite fascinating. But as we were talking, I was able to bring in the Taya concept of appreciation, because in Taya that becomes a big deal, right? And he was he was kind of on a little thing where he was getting upset about increases in technology and Wi-Fi and so forth. And so I was suggesting, well, maybe here's a way to look at it a little bit differently. So that was great. And then we got talking about how communication happens and how people connect. And we were on the tack of, well, okay, you're connected to source energy. I'm connected to source energy. Alex is connected to source energy. So when we're connecting, we're really connecting through the source energy. I mean, yeah, right now, you and the three of us, we're all doing a session through StreamYard, and we're recording on StreamYard. So there's that physical thing going on there. But we also have this connection going on internally. And that connection it's actually where the energy is being transferred to and from. At least that's the way that I was proposing it, and he was latching onto that. And I'm kind of curious to know, do you see it that same way? Do you see it as an energy transfer going through source connection where there's like a communication going on that way? Or do you just see it as, no, it's more that we're connecting just through our voice and body language?
I think that everybody's going to have the experience based on their belief in reality. One of the concepts I talk about is the difference between reality and truth. So reality is subjective based on our beliefs, our experience, the lens that we're seeing. But truth
is that everything's one big globulous gloop of energy that's being experienced through our lens. So essentially, we're talking to ourselves and communicating with ourselves as an extension of source, or I like to use H2O. We're all H2O. Some of us are ice, some of us are steam, and some of us are raindrops, and some of us are puddles, and some of us are streams, and some of us are the ocean. It's H2O. It's right. And when people talk about the co-creation, it's like co-creating with what? H2O. Ice is co-creating with water to make a nice cold drink. It's exactly the same thing, H2O. There's no co-creation going on. So again, everyone's experience is going to be subjective based on their belief systems. So if somebody believes that, then that's what their physical experience is going to be. But the truth is, it's one big snapshot moving in and out of the same thing, energy, expressive according to our belief systems about what we're going to witness.
Did he answer my question, Alex? I'm not sure. I kind of think so, but I'm not 100% sure. Mm-hmm. I mean, I guess the answer that you gave was, well, it just depends on what your subjective experience is.
Yeah. But in truth, my belief is that in truth, everything's one big gloop anyway.
One big gloop. Yeah, well, that's true. That's very true. By the way, I didn't want to let it drop. Gregory never actually asked his question, so I'm not sure if he disconnected from the show or whatever. Yeah, he didn't really get there, so he'll be back sometime, hopefully, and we'll find out what. I really wanted to know what his question was. I was looking forward to it.
Me too.
Yeah. I still can't remember that one point I was going to try to bring in, but that's all right. It's like it's out there, but it just won't come. So, let me go back to Alex actually for a second, because when you came in, we were talking about how I finally opened up a TikTok account and I was starting to post some stuff in TikTok, and I've been asking her about the name that she and Kenny have, their presence name on TikTok, which is well, how is it What? Not surviving? Is it surviving? Surviving the standees, isn't that what it is? I think it froze up.
I haven't seen this TikTok show yet.
Alex, are you there? It's like sometimes her image is moving, sometimes it's not. I don't know if you can hear it. Oh, there you are. We got a delay going on here. Well, okay. I'll just have to leave that one alone. Because obviously the technology is not going to cooperate. That's all right. Okay. Well, I kind of covered on the stuff I wanted to cover. Anything coming up with you, Dan? I mean, you mentioned the workshops at the end of the month, but is there anything else coming up?
Yeah, that's it. I got my sister flying in with her husband on Sunday, so I'm going to be pretty quiet next week. It's got family here.
Right. We definitely have a delay going on here.
Yeah. And then the following week, we're going to do the workshops. So.
Okay. Very good.
They're going to we're going to have. So it should be easy enough to get.
Maybe we answered it while we were talking.
Oh, there we go. Part of Alex is coming through anyway. Are you there now?
Yeah.
Sort of. Technology is playing games with us today.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what I can do is I can tell you about, we have guests coming up actually over the next couple of weeks. More and more people are going to be coming to visit us here on the podcast. And nice. One of them is going to be next Thursday. We have a visit from Philip Montrose. Montrose, I think Montrose is his name, who is he is an author and an expert on EFT and has written extensively about EFT. So that's going to be an interesting interview just to find out more about, what I guess he and his wife are co-authors. They have an institute put together, and they've written, oh God, I don't know, a dozen books on the subject, something like that. So that's going to be a very interesting interview.
Yep, surviving the standees.
Oh, there we go. Got my answer to the
question.
Yep.
We made
it. I'm having major delays over here.
I could tell, yes. I asked that question about 10 minutes ago, and it finally came back. That's good, yeah.
Walt asked me a question. I started speaking, and you just randomly laughed in the middle of my question.
It was great. So anyway,
I'm here.
Next week. Okay, well, good. I'm glad that you're back and that you can actually stay with us. That's a good thing. But in terms of guests coming up next week, like I said, we got Philip Montrose coming on Thursday. On Wednesday, David Strickle's going to be here, so we'll have a stream of David visit. And then on, we actually have, this one just came, I don't even know who this is. This is somebody I contacted through one of the websites where you can meet up with other podcast hosts. And I don't know anything about this gentleman that I can tell you, but his name is Corey Hilton. Yep. We hear you. Can you hear us?
Corey Hilton, is he take it all
off? Could be. I don't know. I don't have any details of it here. But you know who he is.
Yes, I've been helping him get some podcast placements.
Oh, okay. Well, it worked.
Good story.
Yeah. Well, he's coming in tomorrow. So that's going to be very cool. Yeah. And then there was a gentleman who we had a week ago Tuesday named Robert Riepel, who has he has something in common with you, by the way. He knows Richard Branson.
I don't know Richard yet. I'm meeting him soon.
But you're going to meet him, yes. But he's got the connection going on there. But he knows Richard. He knows Les Brown. He knows a number of these high flyer types. And he's going to be back for a second visit. That was a fun interview. That was a really fun interview. And he'll be back. Actually, he'll be here on a Thursday as well. Oh, here we go. Alex is still catching up.
The comedic timing of Alex's.
Yeah. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
But he's going to be here actually the following Thursday. So next Thursday is Philip Montrose, and then Robert Riepel is going to be the following Thursday. So it'll be a good opportunity. If you want to be a part of that one too, Daniel, you'll get a chance to talk to this guy and connect with him. Really interesting guy.
It's going to be a bit tricky. Next week's going to be tricky because my sister is here, but the following week I've got.
And that's the week he'll be here. Yeah.
Yeah. Brilliant.
In fact, I'm glad he's picked that day because I'm looking forward to the exchange between you and him, just because he is very much in the same topical realm as you are. You help people monetarily. I mean, you're helping them energetically, but you focus on the money part. And he does the same thing, and he has his own programs and so forth. So I'll be really curious to see how you guys, what kind of details and information you guys exchange. It'll be fun. And there's a bunch of others too, but not enough time to go through them all because I just realized we're done with an hour.
What is it?
Yeah, we got a whole
tea.
Oh, here we go. By the time we finish the program, maybe Alex will
I don't know what is going on. I'm texting you. I'm having so major delays.
Well, it sounds like you've caught up. That's good. I mean, for a while there, we were getting stuff that was 5 minutes old.
10 minutes ago. But it come through until later.
As usual,
I do have some time because I've got another meet to get to.
Oh man.
Well, that's all right. We got to wrap up here. But so this was a good comedic ending. That's good. But thank you, Daniel, for going over the stuff about Kickstart and your programs. We'll actually go into some more detail on one of the follow-up shows so that we can help people understand more about those programs because I think you have some really good stuff there. So thank you very much. And Alex, we're glad you can make it back. Hopefully you can be a part of the whole show next time instead of being knocked out by the technology. But that's all right. We'll look forward to having you the next time. So thank you, everybody. Thank you, podcast listeners. And we'll see you all next time here on LOA Today. Goodbye, everybody.